a 3-unit, a 20-unit, or a 60-unit building? What makes the most sense? What's the most profitable deal I should get into? Well, these and many, many more questions we all wonder as we're getting started with real estate. That question is kind of interesting. That's like asking, well, Andrew, should I buy a sports car? Should I buy a SUV? Or should I buy a school bus? If I asked you those questions, you'd be like, well, it depends. It depends. Do you want to transport people, multiple people from school to somewhere or pick them up and drop them off? Do you want to take a bunch of kids in your car to a soccer outing? Or do you just need a sports car to have fun on the weekend? It's based on what do you want to do with it. And that's the same thing. If you're going to buy a 3-unit, 20-unit, or 60-unit, the first thing you have to think about is what is realistic and what is possible for you. So if you're a new investor, or if you don't have somebody, if you're somebody that doesn't have a lot of money, depending on your goal and depending on where you are, the answer is going to depend. So what is it going to depend on? Well, for me, it always depends on 3 factors. Before we talk about the factors, I always want to do a zero-in deal, also known as a home run deal. So what does that mean? What makes a home run deal? Well, number one, it has to have cash flow. So after I purchase it, rehab it, refinance it, I want to make sure that the rents after all the expenses have a minimum of 25% cash flow, meaning if the building makes $4,000, I need to keep at least $1,000 in cash flow. That's rule number one. Rule number 2 is the property has to have equity. If the property cost, meaning purchase plus rehab, is $400,000, the property needs to be worth, on an appraisal, at least 25% more than what the property cost me to buy as well as to rehab. And rule number 3 is that the DCR has to hit. What is DCR? Well, DCR is debt coverage ratio. So if I have a debt coverage ratio any less than 1.33, I am not buying the property. Now, some will say, but Andrew, with big multi-units, I can't do that. Well, I'm sorry then, I'm not gonna buy the building, but you have to decide what's right for you.
Have you registered for the 3-day real estate event? AndrewHomesEvents.com, February 24th to 26th, Oak Brook, L.